Hi, and welcome to another Hanaz Writers podcast. I'm Charlotte, and in today's podcast, we are going to talk about Valentine's Day. If you haven't heard any of my podcasts before from Hanaz Writers, then be sure to have a listen on Hanaz Writers YouTube and Spotify channels. You can search for them both on websites, YouTube and Spotify, and you can start listening straight away. They are all free to listen to, and you could even subscribe to the channel. So when there's a new podcast, you can listen to it straight away. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. It's a romantic day of the year, and it's a time to celebrate your love with your loved ones, and especially it can be any kind of love, most likely a romantic love. So it could be a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, a significant other, partner, um, and so on. But you can also celebrate friendship, a friendship love between best friends, and even with your family members like mums and dads and aunts and uncles and grands and grandmas. If you have a little son, a little daughter, then you can ask them, to make a little Valentine's Day card for their gran or the nan, and that'll be quite nice. Or they can do it for mum or dad, which is quite sweet. But Valentine's Day is just one of those nice days where you can just celebrate love, and it's a good day. It's nice to be thankful and to remind yourselves of how much you and another person can love each other. It's also a nice day to just gush over someone. So it's a lovely day. Most of the traditional ways of celebrating the day is to buy sweets, chocolates, roses if you're romantically involved for your partner. I think roses are the most significant, or red roses, sorry. Red roses are the most significant flowers that anyone can give to someone else as a love gesture or to show how much they love you. If your partner is someone who doesn't like roses, then yeah, get them the flower that they do like. You can get them what their favorite flower is, a daisy or a tulip or whatever their favorite flower is. Give them that to show how much you care for them. And along with the flowers, you then get a little note or a card, and you write in there how much you love them. Or sometimes you buy those pre-made cards with their own little special poems, and they have their special little sayings inside, and you can just give that to your partner to show them how much you love them. If you're writing your own card, sometimes you get stuck about what to write and what to say. It is a bit tricky writing the words that you want to show another person how much you feel for them. It's quite difficult to put it into words, especially in a card that's maybe not too big, small, and you just want to write your love and emotions inside and how you're feeling towards that person. So one of the ways that we do this in our traditional Valentine's Day cards is to write it in a little poem. And yes, even the cheesy roses are red, violets are blue, my heart only belongs to you. That does count as a love poem, of course. This poem actually has been one of the ones that has been taken and changed over the years. It's one of the ones where you say roses are red, violets are blue, and then you can change the ending. As long as it rhymes and it has that same kind of rhyming pattern, then it's fine. Sometimes it can be quite funny, and sometimes it can be really soppy and really gushy. So it's quite an interesting poem, but it's one that's well known. That's what I'm going to talk about for the rest of the podcast, because I found this quite an interesting poem. I was kind of looking into that poem and where it came from, how it began, especially when writing our poems in our cards for Valentine's Day. So the first two lines are well known. Roses are red, violets are blue. And when I looked up this poem, it was originally created by a man called Sir Edmund Spence in 1590. And it was actually made famous in 1784 by another man who was called Graham Girton. And he actually wrote this poem into a book about poetry. So I looked it up again, The internet is a wonderful thing, so I hope I got the right information. But when I did look up Gamma Gurton's book that he wrote it in, or he rewrote it into, because in this book it's not just that poem, he has like collected vast amounts of poetry for his book. So I looked up the title, and it started as Gamma Gurton's Garland Book, or Gamma Gurton's Poetry Book. When you read it, there's actually a little bit more to the full title, which I actually quite laughed. It was quite funny when I read through it. It made me laugh. So it goes, Gamma Gurton's Garland, or the Nursery Parnassus, a choice collection of pretty songs and verses for the amusement of all little good children who can neither read nor run. And that part, that the last bit just made me laugh. The neither read nor run. So I understand neither reading. So children, obviously, they don't know how to read just yet. So they need to learn or run. So that bit just made me laugh because I just kind of, in my mind, it popped up like an image of children, a group of children who were just sat down on the carpet, and they were kind of being held hostage in this room, and a few people at the front of the room were sitting there, and then they were just quietly reading to them, reading from this book called Gamma Gurton's Garland, Gamma Gurton's book of poetry. And then they were kind of like being made to listen because there'll be two adults stood at the back of the room, so the kids just couldn't escape. They couldn't get up to even go out of the room or go to the toilet, so they couldn't run away. And then they were just kind of held hostage in this room, listening to the person reading a book about poems, or reading all the poems in it. So when I looked into the book, I actually found a PDF version. Someone had managed to scan bits of it in, scan the pages in. So thank you to whoever that person was. And it actually has quite a lot of other poems inside, and lots of famous poems as well. And one of them I found, quite surprisingly, was called London Bridge is Broken Down. And it goes like this. London Bridge is broken down. Dance o'er my Lady Lee. London Bridge is broken down with a gay lady. How shall we build it up again? Dance over my Lady Lee. How shall we build it up again? With a gay lady. Silver and gold will be stole away. Dance o'er my Lady Lee. Silver and gold will be stole away with a gay lady. Build it up with iron and steel. Dance o'er my Lady Lee. Build it up with iron and steel with a gay lady. Iron and steel with bend and bow. Dance over my Lady Lee. Iron and steel with bend and bow with a gay lady. Build it up with wood and clay. Dance over my Lady Lee. Build it up with wood and clay with a gay lady. Wood and clay will wash away. Dance over my Lady Lee. Wood and clay will wash away with a gay lady. Build it up with stones so strong. Dance over my Lady Lee. Huzzah! 'Twill last for ages long with a gay lady. So you can see how this poem was actually quite a nice one. It was an old version of basically London Bridges falling down. Just the verses are more, and the repetition in them is quite nice. So they clearly have changed the words to modern day. There's like London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down, London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. So someone had probably gone through this poem and said, okay, maybe we could just keep the first bit and we just change the words so it's a bit easier for the kids to understand, maybe. But I quite liked it, and it was quite an interesting poem because I had never realised that London Bridge is falling down came from this poem. It's quite funny to find. It's quite interesting. It also had the song of Sing a Song of Sixpence. If you haven't heard this one, it goes a bit like this. Sing a song of sixpence, a bag full of rye, 24 blackbirds baked in a pie. And when the pie was open, the birds began to sing. Was that not a pretty dish to set before a king? And then they have a second verse in it as well, so it's quite nice, which is probably not as well known as the first verse. So yeah, the second verse goes like this. The king was in the parlour, counting his money. The queen was in the kitchen, eating bread and honey. Oh gosh, I read that wrong. Let me do that again. The king was in the parlour, counting all his money. The queen was in the kitchen, eating bread and honey. The maid was in the garden, laying out the clothes. Up came a magpie and bit off her nose. So the ending of this song, well, actually not quite a nice one. This poor May got her nose bit off by a magpie. Well, that's fun. So I'm guessing maybe they just kept the first verse just for kids to learn about sing a song of sixpence, a bag full of rye. And then they also had in this book The Cat and the Fiddle. Is it? But and The Cat and the Fiddle pretty much the same as we know it nowadays. And it goes, sing hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the moon. The little dog loved to see such craft, and the dish ran away with the spoon. So it kind of like, I mean, I think they just changed the first bit to hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. So they got rid of sing. The cow jumped over the moon. The little dog loved to see such fun. I think they changed craft to fun. And the dish ran out with the spoon. And I kept that last bit in. So most of the, kept the same song, kept the same words, and then they just changed it. So it kind of fit for kids to sing. The last one, I found one more poem I had to say is a hilariously short one. And it's called The Three Wise Men of Gotham Who Went to Sea in a Bowl. It goes like this. 3 wise men of Gotham went to sea in a bowl, and if the bowl had been stronger, my song would have been longer. So it was quite a funny poem that I found. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So finally I come to the Valentine's Day poem. And in the book, it's simply called The Valentine. And it goes like this. The rose is red, the violet's blue, the honey sweet, and so are you. Thou art my love, and I am thine. I drew thee to my Valentine. The lot was cast, and then I drew, and fortune said it should be you. And I think that's quite a lovely poem. It's really sweet, and you can kind of see how over the years it's been reduced to just the first 2 lines. The honey is red. The rose is red and the violets are blue. And then it says honey sweet and so are you. So maybe the only thing that people could remember were these first 2 lines, and then people decided that they wanted to make it funny, they wanted to twist it, they wanted to change the endings, and that's why we've created that. That's how I'm guessing the poem has changed over the years. And when you see a poem, it goes, the roses are red, violets are blue, and then they finish it off. However it can be, and it's quite a nice. It's quite interesting, I think, to see how poetry has evolved and changed, and how, yes, we do keep some old rhymes, but then we added our own twists to it. And it also kind of shows how versatile poems are as well, because it's not just, this is the poem and you have to remember it and stick to it. I know that sometimes when we do poetry and we do poetry readings, you have to stick to your poem. You have to kind of memorize it and you sing it and you say it. But it's kind of like a song. I mean, you can sing any kind of song and you can parody it. I'm sure that if you watch YouTube, if you look on TikTok, there are lots of parodies of different songs. I mean, at the moment, I can just think of one. It's called APT. It's not even called the APT song, but they sing the Apata song in it. And it's quite a funny one. And they're singing Apata Apata at one point. But there's like a parody of it online, and people are parodying the lyrics, they're parodying the music, and they're even parodying the video as well. So I kind of find that quite funny. So it's just kind of funny that it's not just us. We do it. I think we do it, and it's on a larger scale because people can see it online. You can show it to other people now. In the past, yes, they did it. They changed verses, they made fun, but it would only be to whoever the audience was at the time, physically there to watch this person, a poet maybe, messing up the lines or singing it wrong or doing it wrong. And then that would then be cast around and people would talk about it. But I think nowadays people do it online and it's a video, and the video is always there unless it gets taken down. So it's something that once you've done it, you can always revisit it. And so I think that's quite interesting when poetry and song lyrics and music gets changed and it gets parodied, and it's still the same kind of lyrics, still got the same tune, but you you change the lyrics to make it more individual, or to make it more funny, make it more scary. I will just change it in general just to make it fun. So I'm glad that the full version of this poem, Roses are Red, Violets are Blue, that's called The Valentine, if you ever want to look it up, it's been saved somewhere over time as well. And it was quite a long time ago, in 1590 when it was first made? Let me just double check that. Yeah, so it was made in 1590. And then it was made famous by Gamma Gurton, who saved that poem and found it and wrote it down in their book in 1784. So it was good from 1590 to 1784. So it's a good 200 years later or so, 200 to 300 years, that this poem managed to survive for 300 years. And then it got archived into this book of other famous poems. So we should be grateful to Gamma Gurton and the original creator of the poem, Sir Edmund Spence, who wrote it in the first place, because without it we wouldn't have our roses are red, violets are blue, you smell like a monkey and I do too, that kind of thing. So thank you for that. And yeah, it's very interesting. It's just something to think about as well. Imagine if you were a poet in the 1900s or 1500s and you wrote a nice poem, but because it was lost to the ages, no one ever got to read it, no one ever got to see it, and no one ever got to hear your poem, which is quite, when you think about it, quite a sad thing. And it's also quite interesting because, yeah, there must have been many, many other people who were good poets at that time, and they probably wrote really interesting poems, I'm sure. And because they didn't get saved or archived or written down or sung, they got lost in the ages. And that's quite a sad thing to think about as well. So that's all for my podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Think about it. If you're writing your own poem and you want to start it with roses are red, violets are blue, just have a little reminder to yourself, or just think about, oh, this poem has lasted for more than 500, 600 years now. It's been going for a long time. Before I go, I also want to mention really quickly that Hanaz Writers are making some lovely little Valentine's Day mugs for sale on their website. And not only the mugs, they also have a print on demand service. So if you are thinking about writing a little poem, or if you find a poem online that you really like and you want to have something special for your loved one, you can ask Hanaz Writers to maybe etch the poem onto the mug, buy the mug, and then send it off to your loved ones so that they can always have it when they're having their cup of tea, their hot chocolate, or they're drinking something really nice in it. They can read it and remind themselves that, oh, my partner, my significant other, my boyfriend, girlfriend, my whoever loved me so much that they got me this mug, and they've written out this lovely little poem on it just for Valentine's Day. And it's nice, then they can always have that as a keepsake. But if poems aren't your thing, then you could just get your loved one's name etched onto it. Of course, having a personalized mug seems like a small thing, but don't knock it until you've tried it, because then they'll know that this is my mug. People take it to work, they show people, they are always, very proud of it. So don't knock it until you tried it, have a look. And this way they can have that special mug anytime. They can have it in the office, at home, and they've got their name on it. So people know it's not for them. They know it's for this person only. And it also is a reminder that when they pick it up, it's that you were thinking of them when they bought it, or when you got it for them. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. If you'd like to subscribe and listen to more, then click on the subscribe button below. You can hear more podcasts with Hanaz Writers on YouTube and Spotify. And then you can also follow Hanaz Writers on Facebook. Their handle is at hanaz.writers. So thank you very much for listening, and until next time, bye!